Hello and welcome to Feedback and Surveys. Get value insights to help drive your success. My name is Danna Crawford and I really appreciate you joining me today. We've got a lot to cover. This is a big presentation. And just to give you a little bit of background, excuse me, I'll take a second to introduce myself. I'm Danna Crawford. I'm an authorized local expert and solutions provider with Constant Contact, and I have been with Constant Contact since 2007. I'm based in Ocala, Florida, and here is my contact information. If you want to reach out following this session, you can send me an email, find me on Facebook, reach out on Twitter. Here is an example of some of the things that you can grow your business using Constant Contact. You can get fast results with affordable, easy-to-use engagement marketing tools and free coaching. So they do provide newsletters and announcements, offers and promotions, events and registrations, and we're here today to learn about feedback and surveys. So I do other presentations on newsletters, offers, events, and you will also receive an invite to any of those. My goal is to provide as much information as I can to help you be successful with your business. I became involved with Constant Contact only because I love the service. So I only promote things that I love, and so it's my pleasure to share with you what I'm very passionate about. Now, some of you may have seen this slide before. I recognize some of you from my other webinars, but for those that are new, I just want to give you a simple definition or a framework for what marketing really is. So you already know generally what it is, but when I say the word marketing, I mean something very specific, and it's important that we're on the same page. My definition of marketing has three simple parts. You define an audience, which would be a group of people that you want to target. You reach out to them with a message that is specific to that audience, and you elicit a physical and measurable response, a click, a reply, a call, a purchase, a referral. These are all actions that represent a decision made by a human to react to your message. So keep this in mind as we discuss marketing and marketing campaigns and the ways to deliver the most effective campaign. You're doing these things because basically you want people, your customers, your clients, your donors or supporters to do something. So our topic today, the campaign type would be surveys and feedback. It's absolutely about getting a response. So we're not going to talk about marketing principles, and our goal today is objectives, or goals and objectives. So today we're here to talk about marketing campaigns, those collections of marketing activities that make up an effort intended to drive an action that leads to achieving a specific goal. Specifically, we'll be focusing on seeking feedback from your customers or supporters through surveys, polls, or reviews. Campaigns in general are about pushing out some sort of content and getting back some sort of response. In the case of surveys, you push out questions and hope to get back insights from your readers. On the surface, the idea of collecting feedback seems pretty simple. You ask some questions and you get some answers, easy. In truth, there are entire businesses that form around the act of surveying audience, measuring the response, and then figuring out some next steps from there. So input from your audience can be an incredibly valuable tool, one that allows you to make corrections to how you approach your business, that allows your audience to feel more comfortable, committed to your organization, and that allows you to hold up an objective mirror to your efforts and then allow you to learn and adapt as you move forward. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to make sure we all have the same understanding of what we're talking about when we talk about feedback instruments and why you should consider using them. Next, we'll talk about some ways to start thinking about the structure of your surveys with an emphasis on asking good questions. Then we'll focus for a bit on the when and who of surveys, which are two critical elements of the process. And finally, we'll discuss results and the follow-up after a survey is completed. I also want to make a quick note about for and nonprofits and industry verticals. I'm often asked how the things I'm talking about should be adjusted or changed for a nonprofit or a service business-to-business firm or someone in a different industry vertical. I hear, I'm not a brick-and-mortar business, so how does this apply to me? The good news is that this principle that will be discussed are largely universal and can benefit a nonprofit just as much as they can a for-profit. A B2B business can follow these just as easily as a B2C, that a restaurant can succeed these ideas just as readily as a yoga studio, a church, or a bookstore. Yes, you may have different considerations to make for your select audience, but in large, what we are teaching are best practices, and they're best practices across all the boards. We will also have a Q&A. So what I ask you to do is, as I'm going along, if you have a question, go ahead and type your question in the question box and then let it sit. And then if your question gets answered, please remove it from the question box. Otherwise, leave it in place. And then at the end of the presentation, I will stop the recording, and then I will turn on my webcam and I will answer all questions. Why and what? What and why? That's what we're talking about. Understanding your audience makes you a better marketer. Knowing your customers and the things that interest them make them happy, disappoint them, allows you to serve their needs and grow your business. You want to hear the things that your customers, supporters, donors, clients, and volunteers have to say. Through listening, we learn what people want from us. That's what's working and what's not working. So we can make informed decisions, ones that will keep your customers coming back to do business with you. Online surveys and other data gathering tools can help you understand what your customers like, want, and need. So we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we should listen more than we say. I love that saying. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should listen more than we say. Love it. You can start by ensuring that you have a clear objective for the survey. What is it that you need to know to help you run your organization more effectively? You should only plan to ask about one thing that you want to know. Keep your survey focused. Don't ask a question if you're not prepared to use the answers to help you take an action or to do something for your organization. So here are some examples of objectives that aren't so great and different ways to rethink them. Notice how the better options are all more specific and would allow you to take an action. So find out if people read our Facebook posts. Find out if our Facebook fans prefer pictures or links to articles. Do they like our product? Do you like our orange juice? You want to have that? But do you think our homestyle orange juice is less or more bitter than other brands? So on the left could be a way you could ask, but on the right is a better way to ask. Did they like our event? Did they like the layout of our event venue? Was the program too short, too long, or just right? Do you prefer a plated dinner or a buffet? You want to find out more than just, oh, did you like it? So let's take a look at a more complete example, including the objectives and some sample questions and the actions that would be taken based on the answers. Example, I may want to use a social media to boost sales. Objective, to identify if my customers will use social media to connect with me and what I need to know. What social platforms do my customers use? What is their primary use on these sites? And what types of content do they want from me in these networks? These are important things that will help you going forward. So we can take a look at these examples, sample choices. Okay, now the next three slides are simple. There are not enough people at your event. So what are we going to do? Here's scenario number 2. You want to figure out how to get more people to your event. So objective is to survey past registrants that didn't show up and figure out what would encourage them to attend. And send them questions like, to which area would you most likely travel to and attend an event? I've also had answers like within certain miles. Sometimes that helps. Start investigating venues in the areas of the greatest response. So that's how you can react. So when they say, well, I would look, if say the majority answered, well, I would rather attend in the western suburbs. Well, then there's your solution. Start looking for places that you can have your event in that area. What kind of entertainment would you be most interested to see? And they could have comedian, musician, performance artist, other. You could have some answers there, excuse me, simple answers for them to choose from, or you could have them fill in the blank. But I like to have answers that would be easy for me to respond with. So leverage local network to find talent based on the response. So whatever kind of entertainment they like, I'm going to try to seek that out. Okay, here's another one. What time of day are you most likely to attend? So you want to figure out how to get more people to your event. And I know a lot of you do presentations that are joining me here today. So I know this is going to be valuable. Now, your objective, better objective, would be survey past registrants that didn't show up and figure out what would encourage them to attend. So this is what your goal is. How, not only why did they not attend, but you also want to figure out how can you encourage them to attend. So you can develop a venue strategy and pricing based on how they respond. There are 3 primary survey types that you should think about. Surveys, most of what we're talking about today, these are generally longer, but they don't have to be. Polls, they're for quick insight on one question, pushed out through email or your website or social media. And reviews allow your customers, patrons, or supporters to provide feedback on their experience in a public way. Think of review sites on the web, TripAdvisor for travel-related experience, Angie's List for services, Yelp for dining. I'm like a top reviewer at TripAdvisor. I really enjoy writing reviews on my experiences, and I know that people value them as not only the public, but also the businesses. All right, now how to structure our questions. Excuse me. We just talked about 3 different types of surveys, but those are a very high level. Once you go deeper, you'll see that there are a lot of ways to think about why you would want to run one. Excuse me. They all seek to collect information, but that information can provide a wide range of ideas. The real answer to the question starts after you've identified your objective for the survey or what you plan to do with the feedback. So you'll be able to answer these questions: profile your customers, about events, satisfaction, experience, and so on. So as you start to think about the questions you're going to ask, you also need to think about the number of questions you're going to ask. Keep in mind that as the number of questions increases, the response rate generally decreases. This may not be a problem if you're confident you'll get the number of responses you need for meaningful insight, even if the response rate is low, but it's a factor to keep in mind. People are busy, and while they may be willing to give feedback, they'll bail out of a survey if they feel it's going to be long. Now, personally, a little tip for you that I do is when I create my survey, before I have it go live, I will send it to myself, and then I will pretend, I'm a normal person, and then I will go through and answer all the questions, and I will time it to see how long it takes. And then I'll go back and redo my survey and then put in there 3-minute survey, 2-minute survey, or I'll put that in the subject line, because I know personally when I get surveys, if I feel that, oh, this is only going to take me a few minutes, then I tend to fill it out more. But that's just me. Also, here are the questions, the benefits of close-ended questions. Close-ended, they're easy to answer, easy to analyze, and allow for great comparison, ensure scales are balanced and clear. This is the benefit. Open-ended questions. Be aware, though, that too many open-ended questions will lead to more people bailing out. The best practice is to use a combination. You can ask a close-ended question and include the option to comment if respondents want to go into more detail. So it helps me. I know personally from experience when I'm filling out surveys, I know some of you are eBay sellers here, and eBay likes to send out surveys. And if it has too many where I have to either answer a question or write in the comment, if I have time, I will write in the comment, but I appreciate it when they have both. Because if I'm not in the mood, I'm in a hurry, I don't want to write in a comment, that I could just continue to move on. So I think it's a good idea to have both when needed. But keep in mind, the biggest mistake you make is to have too many open-ended questions as a must. Because if you have to sit there and write everything out, you're looking at your clock going, oh my God, I got to go pick up the kids, or I got to get to this meeting, and next thing you know, you've deleted it and you've not completed the survey. So keep this in mind. Think like a survey taker. That's the best advice. So here are some examples of bad questions and how to rewrite them. First question, how would you rate the career of legendary outfielder Joe DiMaggio? Better way, how would you rate Joe DiMaggio's career? Are you satisfied or very dissatisfied with us? I don't like that negative tone. Overall, how satisfied are you with us? Thank you. That is the proper way to ask. I hate it when eBay sellers will send, please contact me if anything is wrong with your item or you've had a bad experience before leaving me feedback, and they go on and on about bad feedback and they keep talking about it. You're better off saying, please contact me if you have any concerns or questions or comments or suggestions, things like that. Don't invite them to automatically have a negative tone. What suggestions do you have for improving Tom's tomato juice? Very general, very general. Better way would be, what suggestions do you have for improving the taste of Tom's tomato juice? So you ask, what suggestions do you have for improving your eBay experience? What suggestions do you have for improving the taste of our tomato soup, or so on? What did you think of the service? Now that's harder to compare results. Versus, you found the service to be fill in the blank, and then you could even provide 3 choices. How would you rate the food, the entertainment at this event? The food and entertainment, double-barreled question. Better, how would you rate the food? How would you rate the entertainment? You're better off breaking up your questions into 2 pieces rather than double barrel. How well did the RDD explain the use of constant contact to drive CTs? Now I know what that means, but how well did the RDD explain the use of CTAs to drive CTs? So always avoid abbreviation and jargon because not everyone knows what these things mean. It's like OOAK. If you see that on a listing, an eBay listing, it throws people off. They think it means oak. Not everyone knows that that means original, one of a kind. Did you know that? How effectively did the speaker explain calls to action? Would be a better way to spell it out. Make your first question easy to answer. Place the most important questions up front. Now that's important. The reason to have that most important question up front is because if they get bored and they're like, okay, I've had enough, and they just casually answer the rest of the questions to just get over with your survey, then at least your most important ones are taken care of first. Ask for profile and demographic information at the end. Explain why you need this information. Keep it simple, don't get too personal, and don't make these questions mandatory, especially when you have open-ended questions. Don't have them be mandatory. Let them have the option to either go ahead and fill it out or move on. Some don'ts when it comes to survey questions and length. How long is long enough? Well, obviously, don't ask questions that aren't relevant. Don't ask 2 questions if 1 question is enough. Don't ask too many open-ended questions, which feel longer. And don't ask too many demographic questions. Now, those of you that are with me understand when you're filling out a survey, again, think like a survey taker. When you're creating your survey, How would you feel filling this out? And this is another reason why I like to create my survey in Constant Contact and then go send it to myself and then take it and say, oh wow, this would really bum me out if I receive this survey, or I need to fix this, it sounds better. And this is a good way to help you experiment to create that perfect survey that is going to answer those important questions that will meet your needs. First, to make the point, only as much as you need. Do have no more than 10 to 12 questions. Do ask multiple choice questions. Everyone wants to know how long their survey should be. Well, that depends. Completion time is ultimately more important than number of questions, but you still want to keep number of questions down, but it's the time to think about. Make sure you take it yourself. I can't stress that enough. Five to 8 minutes is actually too long for me personally. I like the 3-minute surveys, but okay, when and who? When to survey? On the fly, as you need to know something. That's the bottom line. When do you need to get this information? When you start something new. I'm about to launch a new website. I can't wait. I'm going to send a survey to see what people think of my website. What kind of things do they want to see more on my website? What things are missing from my website? These are the kinds of questions I want to ask people because I want their input. When my website goes live, I'm going to send out the survey right away because I want to fine-tune it as quickly as possible so that I can provide the most beneficial tools to help my audience right away. After an interaction, after an event, after a website launch, after any kind of thing that you have going on, or when you're just in the middle of your year with your business, it's a good time to evaluate how things are going. If business is slowed down, it's like, okay, let's send out a survey and see how we can improve. Now, some people like to have regularly scheduled surveys, maybe twice a year, maybe once a year, 3 times a year, every other month. Take a look at the grand picture of the calendar and don't send out too many surveys. As you think about who to survey, think about segmenting your audience to help you ask the right questions of the group that's suited to give you the answers you need. This will also help you avoid survey now, which happens when people get surveyed again and again and again. So for better results, send surveys to those that are interested. Don't send a survey about a product to people who don't buy the product you're analyzing. And don't send an online shopping satisfaction survey to people who only buy in your local shop. New customers equals shorter, lighter surveys. More established customers, more in-depth surveys. That is a good rule of thumb, and I'm going to repeat that. New customers equals shorter, lighter surveys. More established customers can receive more in-depth surveys. Makes total sense. So here's a way to think about the segmentation of your audience when you survey. You could send out one large survey every year that allows you to get a lot of input from your entire customer, donor, or client base. Then send out smaller surveys throughout the year to take the pulse of smaller segments of your audience. Pulse surveys are sent to smaller groups or subsets of groups that you sometimes survey in their entirety. You don't need the entire group to respond to get a sense of directionally. directionality. Results and follow-up. You can't just ask questions and let people answer. That's a one-way communication, and it won't work, or won't work for long. You need to actually promote the survey a bit, depending on the audience, time frame, number of responses needed to feel like the results are legitimate, etc. Embed polls on a website or in an email. Send out links to your networks. Use Facebook feature to conduct a poll. Facebook, the Constant Contact program has that built-in feature. And you can also use LinkedIn as a feature to conduct a poll. Hurry up and wait. Sounds like my husband, he says. No, he says, come on in, the door's closed. All right, be patient. Over half of survey responses come back the first day. 7 out of 8 arrive within the first week. And 1 week is sufficient if time is more important than maximizing results. 2 weeks is recommended runtime, enough time to send a reminder. I'm finished, now what? Send response to a website where they can access an incentive, register for your next event, review testimonials. So after they complete the survey, you want to have a follow-up. Send them to a page, send them to something. What I like to do is I'll create a newsletter in Constant Contact, and then I won't send it to anybody, but I'll have it ready, and then I'll have a link to that for them to click inside. Send response to a closing page where you can thank them, provide access to an incentive, share info on distribution of results. And that's another thing. It's fun to do a follow-up where you say, here's the result, and this is what I'm going to do. I appreciate everybody's input going forward, and this is what we're going to change. Results can be reviewed as they come in. Charts can help identify trends. So use findings to create an action plan. This is the most important part. This is where you start to turn those insights and responses into actual organization changes and actions. You're going to want to follow up with your respondents. Share the action plan or the results with them. If they know that their feedback is being listened to and that it's making a difference, then they'll be more likely to respond to your survey in the future. They'll also be developing a deeper connection to your organization. Don't stop with just one survey. Build the strategy around collecting feedback. So remember, you can do them periodically after interactions on a schedule, whatever works for your organization and audience. Some of the tools you can use to plan and promote events return your results instantly, and others take 24 hours. Some tools to run webinars will take that long for recording. Now, actually, with mine, I can record the, well, this is being recorded, and I can have it turned around in a couple hours. And I can get the information out to you within 2 hours. In either case, once the event is included, you can go ahead and check your results and reporting and get a few different things. You can pull a list of attendees and no-shows. Once you have your list, send an email to attendees and to registrants that didn't attend. To attendees, send all the resources if you had a live event, photos, videos, results, like who won raffles or silent auction prizes, additional info you'll be sharing on your webpage, send a link. Make sure to nurture them to the next step whatever step you decide with the call to action, and make sure that that next step stands out. Some common questions to ask on Facebook page: purchase a product, start a trial, attending the next event. For non-attendees, send a sorry you couldn't attend, here's what you missed email. Provide a recording, which is what I'm doing. I will send a recording to everyone and let them know when the next event is. Use the follow-up email to drive registration. You can use the reporting feature to check on revenue from ticket sales or donations if the tool you're using allows you to collect them, which Constant Contact does. And if you ask questions about the registration process and that information can be synced with your attendee list, you can go ahead and start segmenting your list of names based on responses. This will help you with your follow-up over time, and it also helps you build new lists. Types of actions that can come from the results: introduce a new service, product, or program. Improve your website, which is one that I'm working on. Make communications more relevant. Attract new customers, clients, and donors. And segment your audience for better targeting. And this is also what I use for our local food bank here in Ocala, Florida. And we are getting more donations because of our call to action. I can't repeat this enough. You have to move from results to engagement. You push questions out to your audience, then pull the response in. Now it's time to share the results. Once you've collected feedback, you must respond. After you have summarized the results, read them and share them. Communicate back to your customers, employees, donors, that you have heard their concerns. By letting customers know that they have been heard and action is being taken, you will improve the experience for them and others. This builds trust. Trust builds advocacy, and brand advocates are essential to growing your business. What are your important business outcomes? Increased retention, productivity, profitability, customer engagement, improvements in safety, absenteeism, attendees, etc. Studies show that surveys that result in an action plan increase engagement scores by an average of 10%. In contrast, those who perceive limited or no action saw their engagement scores decrease by an average of 3%. Why? Because my opinion counts. And how many of you have heard that at feedback or at eBay? We've heard you. We've listened. I love it when they say that. I stand up proud. Oh, they heard me. They heard me. They read that result. Okay. Next steps. Yep, we got to walk the dogs. Practical advice. Here we go. Use consistent branding and personalize it. Clearly state the purpose of your survey. Clearly state any incentives and specify the time involved. I personally appreciate hearing the time. Inform confidentiality. Let people know that this is not going to be shared with the world. It's only for your personal business information to become better. Clearly display your call to action and include a closing date and include a thank you upon completion. Make people feel like they are part of helping your organization improve. That is important. And I am going to send you a survey shortly. Start small. Visual of starting small. You don't have to ask every question you've ever wanted to answer. Start with a single item poll on your website or social media. Grow to 2 or 3 questions and start delivering them via your newsletter. Eventually, build to 10 to 12 questions and use different question types. Share results with respondents. Send out additional pulse surveys to smaller segments throughout the year. Now, those of you, this is the, first of all, those of you that are not using Constant Contact right now, I have a couple of special offers going on. The first one, you can get a free trial. You can just type in this URL, powersellingmom.constantcontact.com, or you can get out your mobile device and text the number 99000. So you can write that down real quick, 99000, and then send the text in the text message area. Type in Danna, D-A-N-N-A, and that'll automatically, then you'll put in your email to sign up for a free trial, a free 60-day trial with Constant Contact. Now, those of you that are already using Constant Contact, you can schedule or send me an email. Anyone that, you could also schedule a free 30-minute phone call with me, one-on-one, at any time. And then here's the prices for the basic plan. It's $20 for email marketing, $45 for essential, which is what I highly recommend, because I'll show you, you can have all of these choices with the unlimited use of campaigns, which would be surveys and polls. And then also, my favorite is autoresponders. I can set up all of my autoresponders for the whole year or 2 years or however long I want to go in advance. Also, when you are under my umbrella, you can come and join my Facebook group where we have more one-on-one interaction. You can ask questions and get the help that you need. Special offer today, I will personally pay for your first month. So after you sign up with a paid account, you will also receive free coaching, invites to all of my educational webinars, along with Facebook help, and also eBay. I've been an eBay seller for 18 years, and it's my life. And I also teach eBay. In fact, I have a webinar tonight on listing on eBay, if you'd like to join me. But wait, there's more. They're offering a special right now for 30% off the next 3 months, and that offer ends August 31st. So you would get 35% or 30% off for the next 3 months, plus I will pay for your first month. I can be found online at Power Selling Mom. My consulting services include eBay, social media marketing, email newsletters, nonprofit fundraising, my website, blog help with blogging. But do watch your email inbox from my email, dannacrawford@gmail.com, and you will receive an invite. And I'll show you very quickly. I'm going to go to Q&A, but I wanted to show you, as soon as I can figure out how to get out of here, where, come on, sorry. Oh, we got to black out. Here we go. Whoops. We've got, oh, sorry, welcome to my laptop. I wanted to show you quickly on my website. If you go to powersellingmom.com and then /webinars, you can sign up for any of my webinars, and this is where I have the live ones. So you could just click on any of them. The one tonight I wanted to point out is called The Easy Way to List on eBay. So anybody who's interested to see how to do that, that's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Most of my eBay webinars are in the evening and at 8 p.m. at night, just because eBay sellers usually are relaxed by that time. But all of my social media webinars are all during the day. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to go to questions.